to the Real Estate and Chill podcast, the newest and coolest podcast. So tune in. Two experts discussing the real estate market. Loan officer James Chaudhry and associate real estate broker Kevin Iglesias. Beware, this is not another boring podcast. This right here is the shit you need to hear. Respectfully.
Hello, this is Joe Sinnona with Sinnona Speaks Seminars, and this is Coffee Talk right now with Kevin and...
Wait, hold on.
What?
James.
What? James? It's
Yeah,
Kevin? James?
Joe, wrong show.
Oh, my God. Oh, shoot. I'm so used to doing my own show that I got carried away for a second there. Okay.
It's okay, Joe. It's all right.
We can't blame you.
Long drive from Long Beach.
Oh,
it's fine.
yeah. The traffic got to my head.
A little awkward, but all right. Mike, can you hit the lights, please? Welcome. Episode
14
of the Real Estate and Chill podcast.
Yes.
No
We are
more
here.
whispering. I'm sorry for everyone's ears who I did that to. I am your host, James Chaudhry, with my beautiful co-host.
Kevin Iglesias, associate broker. Today we have a special guest all the way from Long Beach. Oh, okay.
Yes.
We got...
Joe Sinnona.
Awesome. Thank you, Joe.
From Sinnona Speaks Seminars.
Yes.
Host of Coffee Talk.
Host of Coffee Talk with the listing pros in real estate.
Awesome.
I love that.
You were a listing pro in real estate not too long ago.
Yes, we just did our episode when on Friday?
Yeah, episode 94.
Wow.
Ooh, you're a long way ahead of us.
Yeah.
We're on episode 11.
Well, don't worry, gentlemen. This time next year, you'll really make a splash with all this money and confetti here. So.
If he doesn't kill me first. So we'll see.
So, Joe, let's talk about the power of networking because that's how you and I met.
Yeah, we met on Instagram, and I was noticing a lot of your content, and especially in the listing field. And my program only talks about listing pros, and I wanted more listing pros on my program, and so I went scouting and found you on Instagram.
Awesome. Now, what motivated you to start Coffee Talk?
So there is a staggering statistic at the National Association of Realtors platform, and they say that 87% of all new real estate agents fail in their first year.
Wow.
And as soon as I heard that, I said, you know what, I have to do something different other than what I do, which is I instruct as well in the real estate field. And I says, I have to put this on social media. I have to make sure that there's some sort of inspiration, some sort of guide tool, so that new agents listening to the program will in turn be inspired to keep going and listen to pros like yourself and many others who have come on to the program, and see if there's a way that they will take that guidance and that advice and stay in real estate.
Awesome.
Wow. So you are on episode, you said 95, 94?
He's 94.
94.
I'm on
this
94.
guy.
Wow.
Wow.
Nice.
So that means you've had, a tremendous amount of, listing pros on your show, which means that you've networked around with them.
Correct.
And how important is it to, as a realtor, you guys are both realtors, how important is it to network with other realtors? Is that something that's important?
It's very important, and the idea is not to get too carried away with the idea of networking. Make a contact like myself and Kevin, develop a camaraderie, a friendship, a collaborative atmosphere. Who knows, one day he'll be selling my listings, I'll be selling his listings. But more importantly, we can lean on each other for advice because we're not competitors. That's the thing that I want to impress here. We're not competitors. We're always colleagues in the business. My favorite Godfather quote comes from Hyman Roth, when he looks over to Michael and he says, "This is the business we have chosen." And if this is the business that we truly choose to do, whether it's full-time, part-time, anytime, no time, or airtime, we are doing real estate. We are real estate professionals, and we have to start acting like them. And that means that working together is key and essential to our success. Both
I
of
love
our
that.
successes.
I think that's such a great mindset to have. Do you think that that's the mindset that the majority of
No,
realtors have?
not at all.
No.
Because I was about to say, I was like, it's great for hearing that from Joe. I'm sure you're aware of this more than I am, but I feel like sometimes realtors do really see other realtors as competitors.
I mean, we're in a competitive field. Correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, but I feel like a lot of agents do have a lot of pride and a lot of ego that gets in the way and say, which I don't think it's a good way to conduct a business.
No, I think that it all starts with habits, and my company, Sinnona Speaks Seminars, prides itself on a quote that says, "Learn only the good habits." And why I chose that quote and made it up myself, thank you very much.
Trademark, copyrighted.
Trademark, copyright.
We will sue you.
Why we decided to do that way, and why we put that there is because it's the habits we learn in real estate school, from our first teachers to our second teachers, which are our brokers, our managers. And if they're teaching the real estate agents bad habits, they're going to start off with, no pun intended, a foundation that is horrible. And the real estate agent's going to latch on to that habit, and they're going to think that that's the way to do business.
I think there should be like a real estate class in college, high school, et cetera, because they never teach us about mortgages, finances, anything at all. And I think that's...
They give, the basics of mortgages and the basics of finance, but they truly don't. They're missing the boat, because they should have a mortgage person like yourself to come into the classroom and maybe co-teach with the real estate instructor, so that now there's more insight, and not only that, but there's more engagement from the student. Because if you look at half of those students in that classroom, they're dead. Half the time with hearing the same, Charlie Brown voice, as I call it, wah, 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 wah. And they hear that from me if I'm an instructor, or they'll hear it from another instructor, but they won't hear it from the source that you're talking about, which is the people that should be teaching the classes, like a home inspector, a mortgage person, an attorney, and they should hear from a variety of people.
I totally agree. What are some of the difficulties you face? I mean, you've been in the business how long?
32 years this year.
Wow.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
You've seen it all.
I've seen some of it all.
What are
Still
you?
a lot to see.
What is
Don't
your?
count me for dead yet. There's a lot of miles to go before I sleep.
What are your thoughts on the market today? Because it's insane.
It's insane. There are long lines. You think people were giving out bread on
It's like
those
Black
lines.
Friday.
And one thing that people have to learn when they're out in the field is a little bit of civility, presenting their offers in such a manner where even the listing agent, right down to the listing agent, should look at all those offers, give them to the owner and say, listen, would you like to interview the agent who brought me that offer? See, that's something different than just giving them an offer and say, here, Mr. Homeowner, if you pick a card, any card, and that will be the one we go with. I mean, somebody was telling me about an open house where they had 400 people.
What?
2 weekends ago. Now, at
400
100,
people.
you would
That's
think
a
you're going
lot.
to get maybe about 20, 30 offers, right? So why didn't you stop the crowd at 100? Why did you go through 400? And like you said, there's a lot of ego and there's a lot of nonsense going on in this market. Why would you even have an open house with 400 people?
Oh,
I mean, that's a little
second.
unsafe. If you
Yeah.
ask me, that's insane.
Very
400
unsafe.
people.
Super
Yeah.
spreader right there.
Yeah. Condemn that house. Caution tape.
And I understand that every realtor is taking on the COVID-19 measures and trying to be safe here, but you're talking about 400 people, so you're going to probably end up getting maybe more than a handful of offers. Let's say 50 offers. Is that worth it? Is that worth putting it out on Instagram saying we got 10,000 offers, 400 people, and then they take pictures of now the long lines of people coming to the open house? Is that going to make a difference in that person? I mean, or is that going to give us notoriety to get more listings? I mean, what are we going for? We're all going for the same result, and that is to make a living.
Yeah, it's true.
I like you have a very different like outlook to it than, what I typically see. And I think that's very interesting. And honestly, like with the whole thing with like the whole like 400 people and everything like that just blows my mind. Honestly, like looking at both sides of it, like thinking about like, oh, like post pictures, lines and stuff. I've personally done that, not after like there's been like multiple open houses, but like just to like show like, like the how the market's hot. But in what you're saying, like that.
That's another phrase I don't use. I don't say the market is hot. The market is active, because if you keep saying the market is hot, what you're going to do is you're going to put out such a distortion out there that now Mr. Smith is going to think his house is hot. Mr. Jones is going to think their house is hot. They're going to list with one of us who's going to give them.
I'm super hot.
You're all super hot, but that homeowner is going to list with one of us, and think, all right, now I can get any old price for my home.
Yeah.
And every home is different. We all know that, and that home is going to be on the market for so many.
I blame
months.
Kevin. You got me to use that term.
Are you using the word hot?
I do. I say
I'll send you some receipts, Joe. I'll send you some receipts. You said it before.
Stop using the word hot.
I like that.
The
better.
market is very active right now, and I believe that we're in a bit of a bubble. And I think that the hunger, the thirst, to answer your first question, you asked me a lot of questions, but to answer your first question, the market is going to have this, right now is hungry for more and more of these for sale by owners, any house that we list, right? Because there's so many buyers out there. But once you satisfy that hunger, that need, then you're going to have a glut of inventory. And then we'll end up back in our buyer's market. And then it'll be fun again.
Yeah, then it'll be, honestly, I can't tell you like how many clients I'm dealing with right now who's just they're getting a little discouraged on like what's going on, like they're going open house to open house to open house. And it's very difficult, and it's a little bit of an issue.
And in your industry, what's happening is we can't get enough mortgage people to pay attention to us.
Yeah.
Because they're very busy with either refinances or new purchases. And it's great that we're all so very busy, but let's not take our eye off the ball here.
I love that you bring that up because, that's something that I like to, clamp down on really because when we go back to like the first initial question, like, we were talking about networking and stuff like that, when mortgage bankers, brokers, professionals in the industry, when they are reaching out to many, many real estate agents and they're going after, quantity over the amount of quality of how much they can actually get done, they're biting off more than they can chew. Is it a bad thing to make more connections than you could really handle? That's another question that like.
No, as long as you keep everything in sync and right and we're balanced.
Yep.
Everything has to have a balance. Once you throw off that balance, you're just, then it becomes a numbers game, right?
Yeah, it does. It does.
It's definitely like difficult to like if you're working. Let's say for myself, an example, like if I'm working with 2 people and they're sending me, a lot of business, I reach out to 3. Then 4, then 5, then 6. And I make really strong relationships with all different realtors. And then at some point, they're sending me so much business, I can't handle it, exactly what you were saying before. And then, you start ending up losing those connections because you're taking on way more than you can, really hold on to. That's the line that I truly do not want to pass.
At that point, I say, James, get yourself an assistant.
Well, that's
another
true.
Assistant,
That's
another
true.
assistant, because you can't possibly. It's like if I have a bag of marbles, and we'll call the marbles leads, and I throw them at you. And how many can you catch, Kevin? All 100?
No, can't.
Of those marbles, you're bound to lose them. And by the way, that's a very good point on lead generation too. How many leads do you want in this market? I could get 100 buyers easily. Just stand on an open house line and say, who's not represented? Here you go. Here's my
It's a good tactic.
And a lot of agents, they're all like, some of them are saying to me, how do I get lead generation? New agents say that, right? But then the older agents will say, how can I get lead generation if I'm still under a governor's order not to call people? That's another thing we've been battling for the last year.
Part.
COVID-19 and the Governor Cuomo's, crazy pandemic order. That today I even said it to another colleague of ours, and I said, how can 75%, how can all the restaurants be at 75% capacity and we still can't cold call?
Yeah, that's actually an interesting point. When you look back at it like that, now everything's opening back up. We're seeing, thankfully everything's getting back to normal. Hopefully, like within the next few months, we'll see some sort of normal. I feel like we have been in the past couple months. We've been seeing like things getting back to normal a little bit, but that's difficult on your guys' part.
And we're only wanting to cold call because we're looking for listings to satisfy that hunger that's out there. So you don't have 400 people standing on a line. Let's face it.
Yeah. It's just a matter of
inventory is just so low. That's why you see these long lines. Why do you think inventory is low? Now, I've had this conversation with a few people. I mean, a lot of people I've spoken to are just not ready. They're scared still of, COVID, which is understandable. But what are your thoughts on that?
I think the inventory is low because no one knows where they're going. They don't know whether they're going to stay in New York or not. And if they are going someplace, either out of state or locally, there's nothing to buy because the inventory is so low. So something has to give, right?
Yeah.
And I think you're not going to see that until that rush of buyers slows down. And then what happens is then it creates like some sort of quote unquote normalcy again of normal activity. And the normal activity I'm talking about is the divorcing sale, the estate sale, the relocation sale, the step up sale. I call it step up or step off. Step up, meaning they step up to a higher, a bigger home. Then you have distress sales, and then you have people that just want to sell to flip, right? Flip houses. So all of that, think about it, all of those factors tied in with a panic sale of COVID-19 and people moving out of the city in a panic to get to Long Island. I don't know why a lot of them, to be honest with you, I don't know, like if I was living in Long Island, would I want to go to the city? No. But if I was living in the city, why would I want to go to Long Island? Why? If the city shut down, it will reopen again. So why did all those people come our way or even elsewhere? What was part of that panic? What created that panic?
I think because all right, last year I sold 11 houses for cash. It's the most inventory that I've sold for cash. I've had over 50 transactions. 11 of them were cash. A lot of them were from the boroughs. I think people are coming out here for they're tired of being clustered. I think it's too overwhelming in the city. Houses are literally neck to neck. Out here you get more land, you get more property, and not only that.
Come to Long Beach. I live on a 30 by 60. Oh. I wasn't going anywhere.
I'm talking about Suffolk County.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. You got acres out here. You sneeze and your neighbor about 3 miles away says, God bless you. I sneeze and my neighbor immediately knows when I'm ready to sneeze. So.
I mean, I think it also has in part to do with like the working. I mean, I see a big pitch nowadays is like, you have your separate room to work from home. I think that's like another big thing too, from what I see.
Well, life has certainly changed. As my mom says, somebody took the globe, not only took it off its axis, but shook it.
Yeah.
And the people with it. And now the people are scattering everywhere. They're moving from Manhattan to the suburbs of Long Island. And there's a lot of people moving out of state. And there's going to be that movement. But now you take that and the people that were normally selling in the normal markets, now you got the perfect storm of selling and buying. And that's why we won't see that calm yet.
Yeah, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you're selling now, you're selling at a premium, but you're also buying at a premium if you're selling and buying.
Oh, yeah.
So there is, you are going to get top dollar for your home, but you're also going to pay top dollar for your next home.
Yeah, my wife and I are looking to upgrade our home. We live in East Atlantic Beach, and we're looking to upgrade our home to a bigger living space. And we say to ourselves, what are we going to buy? And will it be on contingent? That's another thing that we're facing.
Contingency deals.
Will somebody take our home? Obviously, yes. The answer is yes. We can sell a home. It's saleable. But will we be able to buy something? And then we turn around and we say, you know what? Let's take our other home and just knock it down and build a brand new home. And then we say the cost of construction is
Lumber prices. It's
$75
insane.
for a piece of sheetrock.
You're just in a corner right
now.
now.
Plywood, right? So now you got all
Home Depot is
gouging.
charging to get in the door now.
Home Depot is going to apply for their own contractor's license soon. Everything is so palatable for construction right now.
I feel like we're seeing this in more than one industry. Like obviously all three of us can say this is happening in the real estate industry. In the stock market, we're seeing huge amounts of buyers, people who are not really sure as to what they are looking at, like a lot of new buyers getting into like the stock market. We're seeing cryptocurrency like blow up into like another place. And we're seeing like things like Dogecoin, which has no actual value, become something where, it's worth 70 cents per coin. It's something that's not deflationary, from my knowledge. Maybe I'm wrong. And something that has an infinite amount of Dogecoin that can be made. And still, people are still buying it. Like, money's just flowing into so many weird different places right now. It's just kind of crazy.
As someone who is very spiritual and religious, and I would have to quote the Bible. Then I saw another beast coming up from the ground.
Revelations.
Whenever I think of Revelation, there you go. And I think of that quote, just as you said, oh, we got this happening. And this
It's true.
The stock market is, like I said, the world is off its axis. Maybe we needed this kind of a change. Maybe we needed this kind of movement so that people would experience, a different way of life, a different, maybe a different lifestyle. Remember, there was a lot of people that have died too.
Yeah,
so
unfortunately.
in death, you see a lot of change too. But even though life has ended, it really has changed. And in our industry, getting back to our networking question, how do we digress all of a sudden? But networking is key because we are missing that element still, because we used to do that. We used to go in circles and we used to party with other realtors and we used to network with other realtors and have that sense of camaraderie. And now it's not there because we've been under this umbrella of quarantine and COVID-19, that everyone's still afraid to network.
It is.
I'm glad I made it out here.
Yeah.
Thank God. Thank God. We threw, again, last week we interviewed Handsome Home Buyer episode 10. We threw a networking fiesta. We had so many people here, and it's good to feel, like you said, quote unquote normal again, because this business is all about networking. The more people you meet, the more connections you make, the more relationships you build. You just never know where that relationship is going to lead to down the line.
Right.
And I think, once you have an ego or, oh, I'm so-and-so, I've sold this, I've sold that, it hurts a lot of your business.
Right.
I think educating those people who do not know how to put a deal together or need more information is key,
But if you walk with a sense of humility or just being very humble about your successes, I think then people would recognize what you do and they would cling on to you and say, okay, I'm going to use you because you're not out there touting your success like, you're winning an Oscar and you're standing on stage with this grandiose speech and the producer's telling you to get off the stage. I mean, a lot of Instagrammers do that, and they tout it, and it's every single day in your face.
Yeah.
And you sit there and you're like, I wonder what the public is thinking. Are we putting out a positive image for the public?
I totally agree. Honestly, how it is right now, we were talking about this before, like social media, there's so many different things that are put on there. There's like so many complaints going on about like, oh, do people just post the highlights of their career, stuff like that. I feel like people they definitely do change when you meet them in person. Like, I feel like some people I meet, like I see somebody on social media, they're all like hyperactive, everything, whatever. And then I meet them in person, they're like, they're like toned down, like they're not like super extroverted.
Not
like
I, sir. I'm always the same way.
No, but like, what I mean?
You got to put on a high energy, like me and Kevin do. We put on a high energy for our clients. And like I tell my team every day, you have to create the best version of yourself.
Of course.
If you come up to me and you say, hi, my name is James, and I'll be your realtor today.
I think that's exactly how I introduced myself.
And I'll sit there and be like, wait a minute, what is this guy doing? First of all, I would think that's a weirdo. And the second thing I would say is, come on, where's the energy? You got to get me excited about something. And I think that's what the public expects of us, is to maybe put on a little bit of a show, but also to put a little transparency and a lot more professionalism and less fluff. And that's what a lot of people do. And you don't have to fluff. That's the whole thing. You don't have to be this other person. But if you're an introvert, you have to be an extrovert in this business. There's no way around that.
Yeah, I think if you're not a people person, it's difficult to survive in this business. You have to be. You have to talk to other people again. You have to network, introduce yourself. Say, hey, my name is Kevin Iglesias. I'm an associate broker. How you doing, James? How's your day going? Et cetera, et cetera. You have to be able to introduce yourself to everybody in that room, because you don't know who is thinking of selling or thinking of buying, et cetera, et cetera. One thing I want to ask you, you've been in the business for over 30 years. How important is social media to you?
Social media is by far one of the things that I do constantly. I try to take a break from it, maybe an hour or 2 hours, but life is moving so quickly in our industry that you constantly have to look at what people are posting and what you're posting in order to get in front of the eye of the public. And it's become so important that I went from Facebook, and I was a big Facebook live kind of guy, and I would put out a video at least once a week. So I went from Facebook as my handle to Instagram, because, the Facebookers are still there and they are potential sellers, but there's a different generation gap. Now the Instagrammers are, your 20, 30 somethings. Your Facebookers are 50 to 70 somethings. And that's my audience right there. So then I think about LinkedIn now, and I go, should I go on LinkedIn and Twitter?
I'm still on MySpace.
All right, you're still in MySpace. And don't ever get me to do Snapchat, because I won't do Snapchat. And I certainly won't put a TikTok. Okay?
You see Joe dancing with his coffee cup?
My daughter does this thing, and she's doing this, and I'm going, all right, there's no music. There's no music. So let's be real with ourselves, But I think there's a generation for every platform, and I think if you connect with that generation, you will derive some sort of business from each platform that you use. To answer your question,
What's funny is, again, I spoke about this on your show. I had zero social media when I started in the business, and it's insane how many people you meet once you get on social media and start networking. Because we created this podcast, again, to educate people, entertain people, and it's skyrocketed. I mean,
That's great.
Yeah, it's amazing, that people embrace it and want to be a part of it.
Being an anti-social media person, you didn't want to get on. Well, now you've discovered what I've been discovering for the last, 10, 15 years now since Facebook. And Facebook has really served me well, because the live buttons are the key for every realtor to be out there doing some sort of video, whether it's 30 or 45 seconds, on some sort of content and proposition value that they bring to the table that is not, clown-like. The minute you start getting into stupidity and saying stupid things over live, you're on a live button. Yeah. People are just going to turn that off. But the minute you start bringing them some sort of value, hey guys, this is Joe Sinnona, and if you're thinking about buying or selling a home today, let me give you a tip on buying. Let me give you a tip on selling. The minute you put out some sort of value to the consumer, that's what the consumer wants to hear, and you might get business from it, because you never know who's watching.
It's true.
That's the best part, or tuning in.
I totally agree with you. Honestly, what you said before about each generation having their own platform and stuff, I couldn't agree with you more. I feel like we're just seeing so different age groups on different platforms. TikTok is, I'm not saying it's definitely for, but you do see a younger audience on TikTok.
Right.
Instagram, I have a little sister and she's never even made a Facebook, So it's I've had Facebook for I don't even know how many years. But there's definitely some changes. I think that it's important to really adapt to what's new, what's moving. Like, because when TikTok came out, like, I didn't think about it as a platform that would be like posting videos on. I was just watching funny videos, and then like I came to realize like, wow, I posted some videos and they started like doing well, and I was like, wow, maybe I should just like I could actually use this for some informational stuff that I could show to people. And honestly, I'm in total agreement with you on that one.
I have a good friend in the real estate industry, and he and his son dance on TikTok.
Really?
And it's very entertaining, but that's all he was doing was making those types of videos every day on it, and he would post it to Instagram, and I would sit there and be like, all right, you got to get back to what you do best, and that is make a video in front of the house that either you're flipping or the house that you're listing. And when he does that, I noticed that he's a different person, and there's no more of that silliness. And there's a great time to be silly, but not now in an industry that commands professionalism.
Totally agree with you. Are you familiar with Clubhouse, both of you guys?
Yes, I am, but I'm not a iPhone kind of guy.
Oh, you don't have an iPhone? You would love it.
The show has ended. I'm sorry. This interview is over.
No, Clubhouse is great for just like meeting new people. Like you can have rooms and like a bunch of people would join in and stuff. And there were some times where the conversation would kind of go off tangent. It would just go into like different things, and then like it would turn into like something where like we weren't even talking about what we were supposed to be talking about. At those points, I would leave and like
the show.
Yeah, pretty much. And like at those points, I would just like I stopped.
I'm going to
using
start
it,
my
completely.
own type of clubhouse on as a droid member, and I'm going to call it the spa.
The spa.
That's a good one.
And then there'll be a different type of conversation.
Any advice that you could give agents that are, that 87%, that's a big number.
Yes, it is.
Because, I struggled my first year and I didn't give up, but it was not easy. Any advice that you can give, new agents? We have a broad audience. A lot of people watch our show. Any advice that you can give somebody who's new or looking to get into business? What would your advice to them be?
Mindset, complete change of mindset. I also love doing my schedule for the week. My entire schedule is already booked for the week. I know exactly what I'm doing, and I do that on Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening, setting my pace, my tone for the week. Because if you're going to get out of bed after 8 o'clock, I think you've missed the boat on a Monday morning. If you slouch in any way, shape, or form, this is not the best version of yourself that you're putting out there for your consumer. I'm 52 years old, and I'm running circles of energy around the people who are in their 20s and 25 and 30 somethings who don't get out of bed until after 8 o'clock every day. And I don't see that.
James.
I don't. Now, see,
You
that's
haven't heard the
something I
roast.
just learned.
He has
about
been
you.
roasting me that bad today.
Okay,
so
that's,
thankfully.
Well, this is not the program Truth Uncovered. No, but I'm saying, there's a great video on YouTube called "Make Your Bed," and I think that was meant for people to come out early in the morning. I can't tell you how many things I got done before 9 o'clock this morning.
What time do you wake up?
Generally 6:30.
Okay, yeah, I'm up at 6.
I mean, I'm not one of those guys who wakes up at 3:30 in the morning.
James wakes up at 1 in the afternoon. So
At 4 o'clock, at 4 o'clock this morning, I started hearing the birds chirping. Right, and I'm like, "Oh, that's too early. I'm not going to be one of those guys that does, 75 hard, and here we go." And
I'm up at 6 in the morning, ready to get those listings.
Yeah,
birds chirping.
right, and
I'm
tell me
chirping with the
another
birds.
one.
I see the squirrels. I'm throwing food out.
Tell me another one. Tell me another one if that's you. No, I think that it's important to really capture and seize the day that's in front of you, so that this way, now that hour of power, I call it, that first hour of the morning should be yours. And the advice that I would give to a new agent is, don't come into our industry thinking that it's easy. Don't
it's not.
come into our industry saying, well, I when am I going to get the listing? Well, first do the work. First get the education, because what you're doing there is you're starting at the top of the ladder and you don't understand what it's like to be at the bottom of the ladder, shadowing people and putting in your dues. Hey, if I give somebody an open house sign, a newbie, and I say, hey, carry this down to the corner and point it in such a direction that it will direct traffic toward our house, and he puts it up against the pole where nobody can see it, where the wind now can take that same sign and knock it down flat, then I'd be like, hey, moron, you gotta like put in your dues here.
That would be James too.
well, he
This guy.
he's a mortgage banker. He's not a realtor.
Clown him. Somebody clown him.
No, I mean the new agents have to understand that they got to put in the time and the grunt work so that they can see the results. I mean, I would say the first 6 months of my career, I did a lot of grunt work. I stood in open houses when nobody was coming. I stood there with my books. I was still in college, and I was still reading my books at open houses. And if they did come, put down the book, and I would, try to put on the best version all the time of myself. If I didn't know the answer to a question, I wouldn't make it up, and I certainly wouldn't fluff. So my initial 6 months in the business prepared me for the same person I am today, that I still follow those same traits. And then the first 5 years of real estate, that was built. That was the idea of building a business, and that's what we've done. We've built a business over 30 years, over 3,000 clients who refer us. I mean,
Wow.
It's a machine that works, but you know what? They want to deal with one person and one alone, and that is the person that they initiate their business relationship with. Just like yourself. Do they want to deal with someone on your team? No, they want to deal with the person that they
the head
dealt with.
honcho.
Exactly.
El jefe.
Or to know that El Jefe and the teammate are there, and they're working together, and there's supervision by yourself, the team leader.
One thing you touched base on, this is a business. A lot of people get into this business thinking it's a job. It is not a 9 to 5.
Not at all.
You don't get a paycheck every week. You have to hustle for it. You have to work hard, treat it like a business, open up an S Corp or an LLC, figure out how to run a business, and you'll be successful.
And not only that, but if this paper right here was a time card, and I remember clocking in, and you would hear this click.
James Piggy Bank all on the table.
You would hear this clicking noise because it was a time card, and I used to clock in, and this is how miserable I was in that 9 to 5 job. I would clock in at 9:01 and leave at 4:59, and my time card would have the numbers consistent. And the office manager at the end of it, he's like, you realize you come in at 9:01 and leave every day consistently at 4:59. I said, yeah, because I want to get the hell out of here. Because I hated that job. But then when I started my real estate business, it's such a pleasure to wake up and then turn off probably around 7:30, 8 o'clock, sometimes 9 o'clock.
I go past that sometimes.
So what do? Sun to moon. We wake up with the sun and we go to bed with the moon.
People think that it just because we say it's not a 9 to 5, think it's shorter. It's not shorter. It's not shorter. It's longer than a 9 to 5. But
it's extremely longer.
I mean, you get to the point
I
where
work Saturday night till 9 o'clock.
yeah,
Sometimes I get calls 10:30, 11 o'clock at night from some
You
clients.
answer the phone?
I do.
You set your habits then.
oh,
Yeah.
you want to hear something funny?
Go ahead.
I had a call from a client. We were doing his refinance, right? He called me at 12:30 at night, and I always pick up my phone whenever it is. And we spoke for an hour and a half. It was 2 o'clock in the morning, and I got all of his questions answered. But it was so worth it because he wasn't talking about his refinance. He was talking about future deals and future business and referring me out to other people. And he said oh, my brother has plans, and I want to buy this house as an investment. And I was talking through the process of everything. If I didn't pick up that phone call, he knows how I do business already. So it's not like I have to, be okay, I have to take his call. But the thing is, he knows I'm always like down for whatever. Like whatever it is, he can call me anytime. The fact that you could be accountable for everything that you do and everything that you say, you back it up. I feel like that's super important.
2 a.m. That's why he woke up after 8 a.m.
That's why he wakes
All right,
up
let me
late.
tell you my morning regimen.
But he can justify why he wakes up.
All right,
late, because
I
he's
wake up.
till- you ever call me at 2 a.m. in the morning? You don't have a reason to call me other than I just want to refinance your house.
No, he had a good reason, and that's why I kept the conversation going. Honestly, like I don't wake up at 1 o'clock, whatever time he says. But I do
12
think
noon.
it's important. I think it's important to like set your schedule in the morning. Like personally for me, I try not to look at my phone in the morning because if I look at my phone, like I'm always just like I'm on it, like catching up on all my emails. I like being at my desk and catching up with it there. Like I feel like if I do it like while I'm in bed, like one thing leads to the next, and I just don't like to distract myself. When I wake up, I get up right away. Like I get up, I just I do
And then
whatever.
what do? Is that your hour of power?
Yeah,
As
I mean,
call it.
in the morning, what I usually do is if it's something super important, usually it's by text, like somebody texts me, I'll answer it. But what I like to do in the morning is I like to go to the gym. Like I like to wake up, go to the gym
It's your
first.
hour of power.
Yeah, and
What's
then
your
come
hour of
back.
power?
Well, one thing, I didn't even know he had a desk. Second of all,
Wait a minute. There,
What does that even mean?
Wait, I'm interviewing you guys now. Might as well be back on Sinnona Speaks.
is there any coffee in there? I just
It's
wanna,
a good thing we introduced it.
Oh, but I
in the
want to
beginning.
thank you. You guys have your own water, and there's no water here. So I want to thank you in advance. Don't worry, if I die of dehydration, you'll explain it to my wife. Well,
James
he gave
knows-
me
Mine,
this
but
cup.
COVID.
No, I am not. There's no backwash water.
James knows CPR, so
Oh,
we're good.
okay.
Don't put me in court for that one.
So,
Kevin's morning wakes up. I don't even know how you do it, honestly.
what do you
like,
do?
My
What's your
hour-
first hour for yourself?
So, I mean, I do everything the day before, right? I schedule my day. I schedule everything out. I'm really big into, handing out flyers and following up calls with past clients and touching base. The first thing I do, though, is I wake up and I go for a run. I clear my mind.
Okay, so you do things for yourself.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's what
I
that's
wait-
a lot of weight, right? You lost a good amount of weight
Yeah,
since we
thank you,
started.
thank you. I won't say anything negative about you now because you complimented me, but
Okay.
16 pounds. Remember the Olex's episode? I said I would lose weight. I'm down 16 pounds. Since then.
I'm down 14 and a half. Yeah.
Yeah, we're on our way.
14
Summer's
and a
coming
half.
up.
Yeah, my goal is to get down to 177. I reversed my diabetes.
Oh, wow.
3 years
Congratulations.
ago. So I've been a
Congrats.
diabetic free for 3 years.
Wow, that is
No high blood pressure. I used to be on high blood pressure medicine, diabetic medicine,
wow.
and I was headed really downhill.
I've seen it firsthand. Like not me personally, but I've seen people who I know and love who do have diabetes, and coming. That's huge. That's huge.
So the objective is to create an empire, to create this wealth, this rich wealth, but you can't be rich and sick at the same time.
Of course,
Rich men are not sick men. in my
health is
world.
wealth.
Yep, health is wealth.
That is true. Anything else that you could leave us off with, Joe?
I-
Any more quotes?
Yo, this was such an informational. I feel like I could listen to you speak about like so many different things. 'Cause you're so educated on.
Should write a
everything you
book.
speak
If you
about.
want me to keep speaking, I need some water. No, I am going to work on a book soon. I don't know when and where, but I've been talking about it. And, like the third person's mentioned it, so now I have to write a book.
What about an audio book? That'd be
Oh,
good
it would
too.
be awesome. It would be awesome just to hear the voice, and it's like a fireside chat. It would be cool. It would be cool just to maybe to have like a know-how, or take the steps here. Or step 1, get yourself a real estate license. But more importantly, why are you coming into our profession? I've seen, I won't mention the restaurant, but I went into a restaurant where the waitress said, yeah, I was thinking about getting my license. And she saw me, and I was like, look, if you're going to come into our profession just to have a license because you see on
The glitz and glamour,
the Millionaire,
fantasy
$1
TV.
Million Dollar, with all those places, if you see that we're all making money and you too can do it from your diner, that's not going to work
Yeah,
in my world.
there's more that goes into it. It's not just.
Was it you who I told on my show? I wanted to create a career night for all real estate agents. That every school should have a career night, just to make sure that it's something that person truly and honestly wants to do with their life. Because when they see what's ahead of them in the curriculum, and they see what's ahead of them in real estate world, and they start hearing the stories, you have to see the look that I get, because I'm staring out at the audience of students of mine, and half of them won't make it right from the classroom. They won't. Oh, there you go.
Oh,
There
Mike
it
came
is.
through with the ice cold water. Thank you,
You have no
Mike.
excuse to leave
Slam
now.
dunk.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate you, Mike. Thank you for everything that you do for us. The number one editor.
After this,
Inflation,
Yeah,
prices
take some
went
of
up.
this fake money.
Tip him as well.
Take some of this. Take some of this. But we have to create a standard, and I think every realtor has an obligation to one another to create the standard. When I say that is we have to raise the bar. We have to get more education out there into the field. And then while they are first years in, second year in, third year in, real estate agents, we have to keep teaching them how to keep and maintain that professionalism.
Now you brought up a great question. Why do you want to be in this industry? What do you think, from your perspective, would be a good reason to get in this industry, but not the glitz and glamour, the money, none of that? What would be a good reason to get into this business, in your perspective?
If you truly want to be independent and not work a 9 to 5 or being told what to do from 9 to 5 by some person
Like
above
James.
you, that
I have no clapbacks today.
in my language we call him a scutch.
Really? What does that mean?
I have no idea.
That's what he's doing right
All
now.
right,
to you.
you're a scooch.
I like to call it trolling.
A what?
Trolling.
Oh, troll! You're troll. He's trolling you.
Kind of looks
Yes.
like one too.
Well, I have to say that we need to keep raising our standards, raising the bar, and I can go on like a broken record because a lot of schools and a lot of real estate associations preach this, and I've been at the highest level of National Association of Realtors, and they say that. I've been at the New York State Association of Realtors in the education field, and they've said that. And on a local level, at every real estate association from Long Island to all the way to Manhattan with the real estate board there. And it's something that's preached in all circles of real estate, that the bar has to be raised. And I wish there was a big shakeout where we would find these people who realize that maybe this isn't for them, and just you can't do 1 or 2 sales a year and call yourself a real estate agent. You got to be like myself, like Kevin, who does a handful of sales and keeps regurgitating that sale. And that's really what when we're missing that. We're missing the boat on that.
I think it's definitely, when you first start, I don't want to get too in depth if you're not comfortable talking about it. But your first year, do you remember how many transactions you did your first year?
The first 6 months I did 0.
My first year was terrible. I think what held me
First
back.
year is always so difficult.
I think what helped me. Well, not really, because some people get in this business and do a crazy amount of deals their first year. But no, I wouldn't.
Call that beginner's luck.
No, I think
I call that you having the right training and being with the right people.
Right. But I think if you don't have that training, that guidance, I don't think you would do so well in your first year.
I think everyone should come in doing at least 5, maybe 10 tops in the first year, just to keep the humility in check. And then, like my first 6 months, I did nothing, absolutely nothing. And I almost quit. And I said, oh my God, this is not for me at all.
But you're happy you did.
And I'm very
Yes.
happy
Mindset.
Well, what happened was I stayed up late.
Yeah, I mean,
And
Like
there was
James?
I'll never forget this infomercial. This is what the first thing that irked me about my business. There was a guy on an infomercial, and he happened to be Asian, right? And he spoke with an accent, and he had this
Not James.
No,
Cancel him.
No, this program he had on TV around 1 o'clock in the morning. This infomercial that would teach you how to flip houses.
Wait, I know. I've seen.
And he was on an island, right?
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking
The
about.
backdrop is an island, and he's got a hat on or some sort of straw hat on, and he's got a margarita in his hand.
Hawaii one, right?
And he looks over and he says,
"Is that on cable?"
He looks over the audience or the camera, and he says, "I was a loser, just like you, and now I'm a winner, just like me." And he would point to the screen. And I thought he was talking to me.
I'm not a loser.
I was like, I'm not a loser. I said, screw you. And I'd be like looking at the TV, and I'd be like, wait a minute, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm talking to myself. and then the second thing that really sparked me to change my way. Like I would go to a brick and mortar office and sit there and be at somebody's desk, and I would answer the phone, thinking that I was going to get either a walk-in or a call-in of a lead. And I wasted 6 months doing that and open houses. And instead, the key was going door to door and meeting people and developing relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And I did
But too
that.
scared to do that nowadays.
Well, I did that. Well, because of COVID and everything, it's a little bit different now. But back then, it was the key to my success and I found that through an episode of The Honeymooners. And I was up.
Was that show on cable? That one you were talking about? I've never seen that.
The Honeymooners? It was
No.
on
The
Channel
one that you were talking about before.
Oh, no, it's an infomercial. It was like a commercial, and the guy he goes, I was a loser, just like you, and
I've never seen that.
And you know what? 32 years later, I'm a winner, just like me, and I want the
mic drop.
And exactly. And you know what? You would be a loser if you did not try, and push yourself again to be the best version of yourself.
Yep. Amen.
That's the way to do it, guys.
You guys have like the same mindset. I love it.
Mindset is everything.
Why
we
do
speak
you think
about
we get
that.
along?
Yeah.
See?
I mean,
we found each other on Instagram. For Pete's sake. If he hadn't put himself on Instagram, I don't think I would have. Right?
Yo, you better thank me for that.
Eventually,
You met
we
Joe
would've
because I got you to go on Instagram.
Yeah, he peer pressured me
is
to go on
that you?
Instagram.
Yeah, I
did
had to
that?
force him because he didn't want to, and I was like,
Oh,
"Listen,
no.
you're missing out."
No, that's how we met, and I'm glad that we became friends that way because there's a lot of road here, that we have to, we have to figure out a way to work together.
Mindset is everything, though. That's something that we speak about all the time. I mean, you have to have that mindset that you want to become successful. You have to hustle, like you said. Nothing's going to come handed to you. You have to work for it.
And the last couple of years with me, I've learned that not just having a mindset, but to also make affirmations, to myself. Every week I make an affirmation. Life is not ended. You're going to keep going. You got to keep moving. You got 2 beautiful daughters. You have a beautiful wife. You have to just keep going. It's for them that I do this, and it's for them that I will succeed. I will achieve everything that I put my mind to, and I will build this. And if I build it, they will come.
Yep, I do the same thing. Even when
Habit.
I was brand new in the business and I used to go to meetings, I used to tell myself, I'll be there one day. I'll be winning those awards. I'll be recognized as a top producer. And I am currently. So
There you go.
mindset, people.
On my
Mindset.
side, we don't have awards, unfortunately. But, I do well.
You're not missing anything. You're not missing anything. I still have my trophy that sits to the right of me. I just became icon in my company, but my trophy cost 16,000 shares of stock,
I love that.
and that's what I got.
Wow.
With my trophy. So
I got no trophy, no nothing, no stocks, no nothing. It's all right.
you never know. There you
Thanks.
go. Here's some fake money.
Can you order him a cup or something? Just give him a
This I got on
Sinnona
Vistaprint.
Speaks cup.
My little friend in Vistaprint made this for me.
That looks awesome.
Yeah.
It goes to the theme.
He has no trophy, no cup, nothing.
Yo, why you gotta roast me? All right, like I don't wake up. I don't have any trophies.
Tell
Whatever,
me,
but
I have a question for you. What
Sure.
is the mortgage industry going to be like this time next year? Is Janet Yellen going to raise those interest rates? I think it's time.
So my standpoint of it is obviously just like, this, but I'm just saying this for everyone who's watching. I don't have a crystal ball. What I say can be completely wrong. What I think is that we're really in a cycle right now where we're kind of just playing like we're just trying to catch our tail, because interest rates are so low right now. We have a massive amount of debt. We keep raising the amount of money that's going out with all these stimulus checks. Everything's going on. And the government's really going to have to make a decision of like, all right, are we going to keep the rates low or are we going to print more money? And like those two in return hurt each other. Yeah. So it depends on what the government really plans on doing with everything. For my prediction, I think that like obviously rates can't stay this low forever. There's only so much I can say about rates without being like flagged by compliance. But I personally don't think rates can stay this low forever. We're going to see an increase, like rates this low, like this is like the lowest that it's ever been,
I think it's time to get back to work. I think it's time to work also for the betterment of our country and for, in real estate, for each other, with one another. And listen, I don't expect us to, dance and sit around a circle campfire and sing Kumbaya. But I think what we need to do is we need to really come back to the basics of learning from one another and helping one another. There's that slogan that's going around, be kind, be courteous, and all that other wonderful. How about working together? How about learning from each other, And again, it's not a spiritual thing that I'm doing this. I'm doing this because I think we've taken our eye off the ball and we're just giving money away. We're not encouraging people to get back to the workforce. And as far as interest rates, my prediction is that she will raise the rate.
I think it has to be.
This can't continue forever.
Yeah.
Look at the gas prices.
Yeah.
$3.
Without getting too political, we can't get too political on here.
No, I'm not getting any political, but I'm saying something's got to give and something's got to change, and I think it has to come from us.
But you've seen, so even though I'm in the mortgage industry, right? Mm-hmm. You've seen this way longer than I have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, I'll ask a question back to you. When we've seen dips like this in the past, you've seen them come back up. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's inevitable.
Yeah,
we can't.
Yeah.
It's inevitable.
I've been through the highs and lows. I've been through 4 or 5 different highs and lows, but this is a whole different animal.
Yeah, this is absolute. Like,
this is different. This is a different animal. Somebody said it's not a bubble. I think it is a bubble of a different kind. And like I said, that perfect storm of buying, that perfect storm of selling, that perfect storm of everything. But I think what has to happen is if somebody moves the wrong way, that perfect storm can shift us. Whether it's inflation, interest rates going up, panic sell, panic buying, Look what's happening right now. There's a panic buying going on, right? Would you agree?
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would think that. I think yes.
Bidding 40, 50,000 over price is not normal.
Yeah, I mean, it really just is the perfect storm. I don't care. What do you think?
I think so too. We're just gonna ride the wave and adapt or die, and change with the times.
We can't individually change anything.
Neither can James, and he has no crystal ball, no coffee mug, and no trophy. We got to help James out.
I got these sunglasses. You like them?
No. Anyways, Joe, we appreciate having you on this episode. Thank you for coming by. We're honored to have you here, joining us on this episode. I'm Kevin Iglesias, Associate Broke.
Before we go, how can they reach out to you? Whoever's watching this, how can they reach out to you?
Oh, absolutely. On Instagram as...
I had to stop you, sorry.
We were going to plug that in during... All right, you know what? Fine.
Wait, yes, come on. Yes, tell us.
What? Go ahead.
Please, gentlemen, don't fight over this. Joe Sinnona team and Instagram, Joe Sinnona, Facebook. My phone number here. You want my phone number?
Sure.
516-897-2700. Call me. Call me.
All right. Kevin Iglesias, Associate Broker. Thank you for this episode, Joe.
James Chatter, United Mortgage. That's a wrap. Cue the outro.
Thank you for tuning in to the Real Estate and Chill podcast with James Chaudhry and Kevin Iglesias. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, share this with your friends, your enemies, your mother-in-law. No, seriously. This podcast is so fucking good. You might want to tell